Hi everyone, Lisa Finkel coming to you from Prince Edward Island, Canada, on the east coast of Canada. Not whining about the weather today. It's a beautiful day, sun shining. You know, the wind can be a little cool, but overall it's pretty lovely. I was going to do my first kiln opening outside by the kiln, but I had my granddaughter this morning, so that was a priority. So I just emptied, because I did have to do a kiln flip. So I just quickly emptied it and put some more stuff in. This will be my second last unload before my May sale. So, you know, it's the way of pottery. You just have a lot of unloads all at once. So I'm recording this on a Sunday, but it'll probably be, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday before I get a chance to get it up onto YouTube. So here we go. First thing, I have a kiln unload, but I also have the final pieces. So it was also a kiln unload, but a small one of the Overglaze decals that I had showed you the blanks for it. So now I'm just going to show you the finished pieces. So I did these little, oops, these are just little pendants. I've got some little findings and some little suede necklaces to put them on, but they're kind of nice. I had a few pieces. Here's a little owl. That's cute. I had some pieces that I wasn't really sure, and I have a lot of the bumblebees, because if you get any of these Overglaze decals in the colored bumblebees from Sanbao, you get a ton on a sheet, so it's a great value. This is just a little pink flower. So I just made a few of those because I had scraps of clay, as we all do. And then I know I shared my glaze combos when these were blanks, and I'll do my best to remember what they were, but honey flux and river birch in all cases. Anytime I'm showing you these Overglaze decals that have the specs and color, that's the combo on the bottom. And then in the top, this is excuse me, 3 coats of Spectrum Auto Purple. These are Sanbao decals. So here's the flowers. Here's a little butterfly here. Flowers, little bumblebee coming in. And then a gold bumblebee at the top. So what I decided after playing with Xpression decals and Sanbao decals, that I would, when at all possible, try to keep it to one company on one piece. There's a couple of exceptions where I wanted a gold moon, but I wanted Xpression decals because they recommend a different firing temp. So I can do gold and color because these are all Sanbao, and I just kind of picked a mid-range. So I fired these fast fire cone 018 for this one. So that's easier than doing a fourth firing and cheaper on your electricity and all that kind of stuff. So here's the exact same color combo, different flowers. In this case, I put the gold bumblebee here, and there's a little bumblebee here, and then a little butterfly there. So this series I call Country Garden, and gold. It's really hard to see the gold on camera, but that is gold. It looks almost black, but it is a gold bumblebee. And then the little bumblebee, and then the butterfly. Oh, this one was Spectrum Soft Red. And for the first firing, it looked exactly like Spectrum Soft Red. When I do the Overglaze decals, it almost takes some of the color off. There must be some off-gassing from the Overglaze that changes the color of this to a little more bluey purple, which is interesting to me. And it's really cool effect. It makes it kind of match more. I think I have one more of those. And here you go. So same idea. You get the idea. This one was Spectrum Soft Red. Oh, same base glazes. And then just flower with a little bumblebee and a little flower in the lip for the vase. And this one, these are the Xpression decals. So those I fast fired at cone 016. So this is their gold, little gold swirlies. This is their little foxy. These are their gold stars. And there's their gold stars. And that is River Birch, Honey Flux, Root Beer, 3 coats, and a little dip of Power Turquoise, and then just bits of flux between the 2 colors to get some drippage. Now, I had 2 of these, and the other one, the fox, when I did it, I wasn't careful enough, and there was an air bubble under the fox. So I got this big blank spot. It basically burst and burnt out. So I refired that one in this load, this glaze load, and I'll show you what happened to it. And because I wanted to know if it would burn off clean, so I could start again, and I'll show you the results of that in just a minute. I did, let me see, I'll show you that after. These are so pretty. This is Sanbao, these hydrangeas, and the bumblebees. And this is Spectrum White Speckle Clay, and then it's just my Ravenscraig White Glaze, which is like 3 ingredients. And that hydrangea is really pretty. So I kind of threw it as a wine cup, but really, I also think it would be an adorable posy vase. So really, it's, you know, that's the cool thing about pottery. People can use it whatever they want to use it for. This is another hydrangea. Colors are pretty in that one. And there's another one. And I would say after using the Xpressions and the Sanbao that Sanbao gives you a little more bang for your buck, but they do not have nearly the same choice for designs. So it's really whatever you want. But they do have some really pretty florals, which is what I've been using. And then this is also Sanbao, this little pink. And this is also on the white Ravenscraig and this speckled stoneware from Tucker's, the white stoneware. And then I just put a little bumblebee inside, little dish, cute little dish. And I did some smaller mugs. I've usually been doing some big ones, but I had done one of these for my granddaughter for Easter, and I posted it, and a lot of people commented on it. So I made a few small unicorn mugs with some gold stars and the unicorn. And in this case, because these are going to be a little cheaper than my regular decal mugs, I only put it on one side. And I thought I had more than, oh, I did have a couple other unicorn mugs, but I think they're upstairs, so I had to send a picture to someone. This is an Xpressions decal, the flower, and it's 2 coats of obsidian, and then it's 1 coat of blue hydrangea all over the obsidian, and then a little bit of seaweed on the rim. So that's that. And this is the one mug that I quadruple fired because I wanted to use the Xpressions Decals, but I also wanted to use the big moon, which, see if I can show you that right here, as part of the design. So you have to fire down. So you start at the hottest temp first, and then fire down to the one that can take the lower temp. So, because if I put the lower temp one on first and then fired up, I might burn out the lower temp one. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So when I said I fire Sanbao at 018 and I fire Xpressions at 016, 016 is hotter and 018 is cooler. And so you do the 016 first, then you do the 018. So the 016 was the bunny, these little swirly stars. These are all Xpressions decals. The fox and these little funky stars. I love the stars from Xpressions. Like, look, they're so folky. They do have some stars at Sanbao, but they're a little more traditional looking. So, you know, whatever you prefer. And then I put the moon on and I fired to cone 018. And it certainly doesn't hurt this because you're firing cooler, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And same with this one. These are Xpression foxes, Xpression decals, foxes, stars. Look, he's playing with the stars. I think that's so cute. And then the stars inside. And then he's looking up at the moon, at the half moon. So that's the skinny on that. Aubrey, you had asked me, I had mentioned that I had done some of these before, and I had done a green, I think, on the top, and I put seaweed on it. And when I put it in for an overglaze firing, it turned kind of dark and metallic-y. It didn't this time, so this was a seaweed. So it might have been the base green that I used instead. And the base green I used, I believe, might have been holly green with some olive float over it. So, you know, you just never know. And it looked fine. It surprised me when I pulled it out of the decal firing that the color had changed on this. But it can happen. I was watching someone else's video the other day. I can't remember who. And they said that happened to them too with green. So go figure. Okay, so that is it for overglaze decals. On to regular glazing. So this would be 2 coats of honey flex, 1 coat of river birch, 3 coats slightly overlapping. You don't need to overlap a lot because this soft red is like flux and it runs. So 3 coats of soft red, which I call, there you go, that's a better look at the color. I call it cloud pink. And then it turns white where it hits the glaze. So it's like a real, it's an ombre effect. It's a flux effect without using flux. So if you really like that look. So Nat, you had asked me about winterwood, and I did use flux on that. But on the river birch, I don't with the soft red for sure, because it's naturally doing what I want it to do. So I don't need to. So that's a perk for river birch, right? Saves you a step. So here's another one. And this is one of the 4 dimpled mugs. With a handle. And if you haven't tried making 4 dimpled mugs yet, give it a shot. They are so comfy to hold, especially if you're making one for yourself and you want to treat yourself to a nice mug. If you like hanging on to your mug, like once my coffee cools off a little bit, I love to just hold my mug. So these finger dimples just are so functionally comfortable. Crazy, crazy. So that's the same glaze treatment though. So I'm going to try to get this color right, because every time I show you guys this color, I call it lake blue. I don't know why. It is Coyote Turquoise Lake. If you hear me saying lake blue in this video, no, I mean turquoise lake. God, it's just like a mental block or something. So this, just my Studio Clear inside, I painted 3 coats of curry, Spectrum Curry. And then I dipped, slightly overlapping over the curry with, because I got a dipping glaze in this, is the Coyote Turquoise Lake. I almost said lake blue. Jesus. Oh, God. Crazy, crazy. So this one was curry right to the top, 3 coats, flux, and then just a tiny little dip at the rim in the lake blue. Oh, I'm cracking myself up. Turquoise lake. God. All right, on to more turquoise lake. So dipped to the rim in turquoise lake. Then, I know you guys have seen me use this treatment before because I love it. Then I dipped Power Turquoise to about here. Then 1 coat of thick flux to about here. And then at the base of the flux, 2 coats of Raspberry Mist. Look at that. I'm just loving that. So interesting, I think. I refired one of those discolored Mama Bear mugs I showed you guys before. I kind of took a Dremel and I sanded back some of the discoloration, and then and it was really kind of rough, so I thought, eesh. And then I put a couple more coats of the mixing clear over it, and it worked out great. It smoothed out the Dremel marks and stuff. So I have one more that's pretty discolored. I'm probably going to do the same thing for that one because that greatly improved its appearance. Okay, so this one is the Turquoise Lake, and it's 2 coats of Honey Flux, 1 coat of River Birch, and then a band of Mayco Light Flux where they meet. That's pretty. Gosh, so fresh. Oil pourer. So this one is in the Amaco Celadon Deep Sea, 2 about here. And then overlapping, I've got 2 coats of Honey Flux, 1 coat of River Birch. And this pink and coloration there is just coming just from the overlap, just doing its thing. It's very pretty. Wow, it's so interesting, the colors you get when you get overlaps. This one, another oil pourer. So this one is, I did the Spectrum Curry to about here, 3 coats. Then I dipped it in my Studio Blue, overlapping the curry probably about that much. And then over that I did 1 coat. And my olive float is really thick. So 1 thick coat of olive float. And that's interesting, I think. Look at the variation we're getting here. Some greens. I like this little white line we're getting where they're meeting. I often will use frosted lemon, but I wanted to challenge myself to try to use a little more of the curry just to see which one I prefer. And I obviously, in different scenarios, I probably would prefer one over the other because they both have their own little, I find the frosted lemon is a little yellower. So the curry is a little more subtle. So it's really whatever look you're going for. This is a utensil holder, and it's all the way to the top, 2 coats of flux, Honey Flux, 1 coat of River Birch, just the clear in the middle. Then I dipped it in my Studio Blue to about here, and then over that I put a very thin coat of Honey Flux because I did not want the blue to be super, super strong. And that's that. I've done these before, but these are the last of them. So I did 6 noodle bowls. Look at the little holes here, and I'll sell them in the little divots for the chopsticks here. And that's that same treatment as I showed you in the mug, except that the inside is 3 coats of Honey Flux, just the Power Turquoise Flux, and Raspberry Mist. No wonder we have a hard time remembering the names. A lot of glazes. There's a lot of glazes out there. Holy cow. And I will admit, I did 6 of them, and I did them all the same color. I liked the color, and I was trying to be a little more efficient in my glazing. So there's 6 of those. And anytime I do something like that, if it's something that I would love color-wise, I'm like, oh, then also I will love it. Okay. So I've done this effect before, but I tried it with some new glaze colors because I just wanted to see how that would work. I call these kind of like a watercolor mug or whatever because they're very soft, abstract. So inside, of course, is Studio Clear. In most cases, that's going to be what's in there. All the way to the rim, 2 coats of Honey Flux, 1 coat of River Birch. Then I did just 1 coat swipes of just random Spectrum Autumn Purple, and I think it's this here, which is really interesting, right? And then it was Sangria, and that's that pink. And this color, this is really interesting. The blue is Textured Kiwi. Who would have thought? And then when I did all that, I thought, I want it to look soft. I don't want it to be like too harsh. I did a very thin coat of Honey Flux all over it, just to make sure I got some melt in that. I'm really happy with that. That's pretty cool, I think. And I did the exact same colors on this one. Nice little mug. This one is the one. This is the one that I refired because I had a little fox in it and I had messed up on it. And it did burn off all the gold and the fox. But dang it, look. Pinholed. And it's pretty drippy right down to the bottom. So I'm not sure. I might, and it's got a divot in it. So if I refire it upside down, which I can do occasionally, it's always a crapshoot if it's going to touch that post when you do that. I'm worried that the divot would touch the kiln post. So what I might do is I might just put it on stilts and see. I mean, if it runs off, it runs off. I have advancer shelves, so I feel very brave sometimes. Brave or stupid, I don't know what. Oh, I did a second one of this one. I already showed you this. So that's that turquoise lake and river birch here, and then the flux in the middle. I am loving that. That is so pretty. This one is turquoise lake on the bottom, dipped. Purple haze on the top, dipped. And then just dabs of honey flux in the middle. Now, I think if I did it again, I might, over the honey flux, I might do some dabs of either winterwood or river birch, just to get a little bit of something happening there. Or even, it might be really interesting to have blue hydrangea there. So just something that it's not so, I find that a little bit, little harsh maybe. But I mean, it's still very pretty. The colors, I love these colors together though. Look at that. I wanted to play a little bit with the turquoise lake with some other colors. This is just that same variation, but it's got Nova Scotia Girl. I have a lady who was hoping I might make a couple of Nova Scotia Girl mugs. So Nova Scotia is the province that is right next to ours. Also on the East Coast, of course. And this one is Coyote Turquoise Lake. And then this is 2 coats over it, like I did all the way to the top of the turquoise lake. This is 2 coats of Archie's base because I wanted to see, I know Archie's base can be pretty pink when it goes, and it is, and I like that. I think that is quite pretty. It's quite subtle. So I like how that turned out. Sometimes you do a glaze combo and you're really surprised, and this one surprised me a little bit. So the inside of this bowl, this is on dark clay, by the way. So the outside of this bowl is dipped to alabaster to the rim. The inside of this bowl is 3 coats of pearl white. And I've been showing you guys pearl white lately, and whew, so pretty, especially inside bowls where you don't have to worry about things running around on you. And look at the little swirl. So outside, 2 coats of Twilight, Spectrum Twilight. 1 coat over that of Night Moth. And my Night Moth, like my Olive Float, is pretty thick. Not quite as thick as my Olive Float, but it's pretty darn thick. And then just where it meets the alabaster, I did some flux. I mean, I think I'm going to do that on a mug. Like, wow, how pretty is that? And then inside, exact same, except it was pearl white to the rim. 2 coats of Twilight, 1 coat of Night Moth. And I did not put flux there because pearl white, you do not need flux. And wow. Hard to show those colors on the camera, but there's a lot happening. Very pretty. Okay, so this is, I wanted to see how this looked, and I kind of like it. I don't know. What do you guys think? So this would be Pottery Supply House Purple Haze dipped. And I think I mentioned before, I mixed mine too thin, so I dip it twice. And then overlapping, just like a little bit, because I know that Spectrum glazes like to run 3 coats of sangria. And it gets dark where it meets purple. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. It's Capel color, but sometimes I like Capel color. This one, I really challenged myself to start playing more with turquoise lake and purple haze since I've just got new dipping glazes. Purple haze twice, of course, dipped because I mixed it too thin, clear inside. So then, just slightly overlapping, not a lot, Norse blue, dipped. Then painted on 1 coat of blue hydrangea. And then on the rim, 1 thick coat, just like maybe this far, of mayco light flux. Because when mayco light flux hits blue hydrangea, it likes to run, and it runs this really pretty icy white. So that's quite nice. This one is, you know, this is kind of the basic dip 2-color mug, which some people really like. Some people do not want drips. They don't want a lot of, they just want something clean and simple. So this one is just turquoise lake on the bottom, purple haze on the top, slight overlap. And that is very pretty. So there's that one. This one, turquoise lake on the bottom, not all the way to the top, just to about here. I think I just dipped it far enough that it would fill in my letters and my mama bear thing. And then slightly overlapping 3 coats of sangria. The only thing I would say if I do it again is I probably would put a little bit of pearl white on the sangria, just to lighten it up a tiny bit. And also I think kimchi would look really pretty instead of sangria. So there's that one. Okay, this one, the girl, is my Studio Cranberry to about here. Once again, I had to dip it far enough that it would get into the letters because I try not to have to do the letters separately when I can avoid it. So just to about there. And then slightly overlapping 3 coats of sangria. This is a really pretty popular combo for me. Very vibrant. It's kind of like knocking on the door of red, but it's not quite red. And here's the same one, just without the PEI girl. This is one with the double finger dimples in the mug. So, and then, now this is interesting. This one is, to me, quite a nice mug. But what is interesting about it is this is supposed to be Temuco Gold. And I have done this before. And I'm pretty sure I double dipped it because Temuco Gold, if you do not double dip it, because mine is thin again, if it's not thick enough, you get this sort of burgundy brown instead of the golds. So either I didn't stir it enough or I didn't hold my dip long enough or something, and both of them turned out the same. So it might have been that I didn't stir the bucket of glaze enough, but it's still fine. It's smooth, it's covered. It's just, it's not Temuco Gold. It's more like this chocolatey burgundy, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm still happy with them, and someone will love them. So that went to about here. And then before I did anything else, and of course I always line my mugs first. So a reminder, before I start glazing, I line all my mugs first, and when I can, I leave them for a day. Then it allows your mugs to, or any of your pieces, to absorb glaze easier, because if your liner glaze is still wet and the clay is still semi-saturated, then it's not going to absorb as well on the outside. So if you have time to do it, it's awesome. If not, in the summer, I throw them out in the sun and they'll be good in an hour. So Temuco Gold, which is not Temuco Gold. Root beer would look really great on this too. And then I did two coats, as thick as I could get them, coats of Spectrum Holly Green. And then I did 3 coats of Spectrum textured kiwi. And I did that because I just done the butter dish with the foxes, and I really liked the textured kiwi, and I know what that looks like. But I also know that textured kiwi over holly green gives you this really cool striation and turquoisey look. So I thought, how would that be as a gradient? And that turned out really nice. I'm happy with it. Like, look at those strips. I think that looks great. Nice mug. And I did one last one like that. Just right here. Same idea. Still didn't get any gold on the bottom. Not even like maybe a tiny little bit there. But if the only person who knows that that's not the way it's supposed to look is me, the customer would never know, because it's still a lovely glaze. It's smooth, it's shiny, all the good things. So there we go. So that's it, guys. This is my second last load before the sale. So I'll pop on when that's ready. I hope everyone has a great day. If you like it, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.